Hey everybody, what's going on? Helmlight here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I want to talk about ways to avoid tilting yourself in the middle of a game. Obviously, if you're on a string of losses and you're trying really hard to not get tilted, there's a limit to how much you can really do, and there are different strategies for dealing with this. But specifically today I'm going to be talking about in the middle of a game, you're starting to feel the telltale signs of tilt come along. What do you do about this? And basically, how do you avoid it happening? Now, it's going to vary from player to player. Certain things are going to bug you way more than others. Some people will really get pissed off if the enemy player just keeps spamming their mastery emote over and over again. Some players don't care at all. Some players are practically tilt-proof. And if that's you, that's great. But I know there are always things people can do that make you annoyed and can get you off your game. This game in particular I brought up because this Singed is doing everything in his power to make you mad. He's spamming his mastery emote, he's proxying to like there's no tomorrow, he's spamming laugh and lane, he's doing everything he can to try and get me and my team worked up. The first thing you do when faced with one of these players is you just ignore them. It doesn't matter. And the best way I've found, because saying just ignore them is difficult, because they're trying to get attention, right? They're spamming an emote, or they're spamming their laugh, or they're doing things that you have to deal with. So basically then how do you ignore them? The way I've figured it out is basically focus on what you can do about the situation, not the player. So in this situation, I'm top lane into a pretty awful matchup where I'm just trying to farm as Ornn and trying not to take too much tower harass at the same time against this Singed, and my focus is basically on what I can do to deal with that problem. How am I going to avoid taking too much minion damage? How am I going to keep the lane pushed out? How am I going to avoid dying to the Singed or a gank? How am I going to get as much CS as possible? Those are the problems I'm focused on in this game. I don't care what the Singed is doing. He's got the emote spam going. In fact, I did ask him, he did set it up automatically, but I don't care. That's not why I'm here. Stay focused on your own play, and you won't have to worry about why the guy is doing what he's doing. You know why he's doing it, and just ignore it. The other important thing is to be able to pick apart your own mistakes, which is a skill that I notice a lot of people have difficulty doing. It's so very hard when you make a mistake to be able to step back and say, I made a mistake. You want to blame everybody under the sun besides you. Jungler wasn't top lane, got no ganks, support didn't go in with me, I didn't have my power spike, oh, he got a 1% crit. Never, ever blame anyone else but yourself when something bad happens, even if you didn't even make a mistake. If you played everything perfectly, never assume that you still did everything perfectly. Find some mistake. There is always something you could have done better to make the situation better. So you get solo killed in the top lane. There wasn't jungler interference. There was nothing going on. You just die. Instead of saying, well, my jungler should have ganked, or, you know, maybe, you know, this is someone else's problem, I got counterpicked. Instead say, well, you know, why was I fighting this man when I know he's a counterpick? Maybe I needed to land that skill shot. I should have waited for the next wave so I would have had more minion damage. I should have popped my pot earlier. I shouldn't have flashed there because that was a worthless flash. I was going to die anyways. As long as you're staying focused on what you can do to improve, first of all, you'll get better because you do this enough and you say the same things multiple times, and eventually you realize, maybe pushing out really hard at level 1 isn't a good idea because I get ganked all the time. And, you know, speaking from personal experience, and then you can kind of get better from there and improve. But the focus on your own mistakes also helps avoid tilt because you're breaking it down. You're avoiding the emotional gut impact of, damn it, I got solo killed. Instead, your immediate reaction to that is, I got solo killed. I missed my skill shot. I pushed out too far. I didn't have the minion wave. I didn't have a pot. He did. All those kinds of things. Even if someone else makes a mistake, you can't play the game as though your teammates will make the right call. You almost have to play solo queue League like it's a roguelike game. If any of you guys have played Binding of Isaac, you might get the metaphor, but sometimes you're going to have great items on your first floor. Maybe you'll make the legendary floor 1 guppy, and sometimes you're going to start with a terrible item. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's just the randomness inherent in roguelikes. Sometimes you're going to have a great run where everything works out. Sometimes you're not. And this is kind of what I'm getting at in League of Legends. Assume your allies are basically unpredictable random elements. Sometimes you're going to get a Diamond 5 player who's going to carry you to victory. Sometimes you're going to get a Bronze 5 player who is going to drag you down. There's nothing you can do to change it, though. So it doesn't matter. You don't flame. Don't blame them for the loss. Just say, okay, this is a factor I have to play around now. I know he's a level, a bronze 5 player. I know he's gonna play Yi, and I don't like Yi personally. Instead of saying all these things about, oh, well, we could have done this, I could have done this better, this bronze player is the one, putting me down, just focus on what you can do instead. Play with the knowledge that he's there. Treat it like a roguelike, and I guarantee you'll have a better time. The other thing, and the final thing I want to talk about to avoid tilt, is if anyone starts putting things in chat that you know are going to get you worked up. They're saying, GG easy. They're saying, oh yeah, nice skill shot when you die. All this stuff. Mute earlier than you think you need to. Because sometimes, and if you're one of those people who has, like, just ironclad, skin, and you don't get tilted by anything, then you're probably fine. But if you're one of those highly emotional players who sees one negative comment and immediately gets thrown off, just mute, because if they're willing to say one tilting thing in chat, they're probably willing to say a lot more. And if that's the case, you just want to shut it down as quickly as possible. That's why the mute function is there. Ideally, they wouldn't, but, it does happen. You may even just think, I'm just going to mute everybody in the game every time I play the game. And if that works for you, that works for you. Just make sure you tell your team you're going to do it and that they need to communicate via pings. Most players are pretty good about doing that, but you should let them know regardless. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other strategies to avoid tilt, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. I'd love to read what you guys do in your own games to avoid going off the face of the planet when things go wrong. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you really enjoy the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. And additionally, if you want more Grab the Lantern content, you can check it out over on my blog, grabthelantern.tumblr.com. I upload an article just about every single day for your guys' enjoyment. Anyways, thank you all so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later.